Step into the realm of the divine, where every breath becomes a prayer and every heartbeat resonates with holy wonder. A hidden tide has been gathering strength as you faced your private struggles alone, wrestled with self-doubt, and questioned whether anyone truly acknowledged your journey. Every trial you endured, every lesson you absorbed, and your relentless drive to unearth the ultimate reality, regardless of what it cost you, have been essential notes in the cosmos's orchestral design. An unseen coalition is coalescing on your behalf, not the kind you'd expect at family gatherings or from old friends. This isn't mere coincidence or the bond of shared blood, but a deliberate scheme unfolding at the highest echelons. Influential figures have quietly taken note of your journey, watching with growing fascination as it unfolds. Behind the scenes, observers have noted your unbreakable spirit, how you've withstood pressures that would have crushed most. They've watched you transmute your deepest wounds into insights, guiding those still searching through their own darkness. Around you, forces are shifting with breathtaking speed, setting the stage for clarity at last. Every solitary stand against overwhelming odds, each betrayal that cut you to the core, and every choice to pursue growth rather than ease has been a crucial training ground for the moment unfolding now. Small missions are not a waste of the universe's chosen ones, and things are going to happen in yours that will leave you speechless. First, though, realize that your recent awakening wasn't a coincidence. It's not wishful thinking or spiritual sidestepping when you suddenly realize where your life is headed, or when you get an unexplainable sense that everything is going to change. Since you have attained a frequency where such contact is feasible, you have been receiving downloads from higher consciousness. Your frequency was raised to match what was waiting for you after years of introspection, avoiding letting resentment poison your heart, and holding on to hope when reason screamed resignation. To match what has been waiting for you, Jean and I counted subtly and salivated your vibration. In order to mid-suspend the Prontosini captain, I craft, and Proston pronto. Ganks retreated to the make and continued to use the Ticcolo. Although there are people in your sphere who are attempting to make amends, this is not one of them. Someone whose riches could change the course of innumerable lives, whose voice matters in rooms where decisions impact society, is someone of a whole other caliber. Their moral compass directs them to stand for those who represent the change they want to see in the world. Their interest was piqued by the genuineness of your metamorphosis, rather than by networking or self-promotion. Real progress is a shining light in a society full of manufactured inspiration and theatrical spirituality. A resonance is created that attracts strong allies like magnetism when you are willing to confront your shadows, break generational traditions that have shackled your lineage for decades, and choose healing over retaliation. Perhaps you haven't really acknowledged it yet, but this donor sees something in you. The point is this: whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. 2 Corinthians 9 verse 6, friend, invest $20 or more in this work through the Super Thanks button, and prepare to reap a harvest of favor beyond your wildest dreams. They see that your hardships weren't arbitrary penalties from an uncaring cosmos, but rather well-planned initiations meant to create a person who could wield a huge torch. The childhood injuries that almost shattered you were also severing the bonds that held your ancestors to cycles of fear, repression, and limitation. You were creating a new narrative for everyone associated with your energy field, not just yourself. Each time you opted for truth over cozy lies, progress over stagnation, and love over hate, those who keep an eye on these matters have seen this ripple effect. You've risen to the top of a list of people whose sole mission is to find and assist good change agents. The assistance you are receiving is an investment in your cause, not charity or sympathy. This individual understands that your unique blend of experiences, knowledge, and fortitude makes the ideal basis for something that has the potential to change thousands, if not millions, of lives. They have witnessed how you inherently become a beacon of hope for those in need, and how your mere presence can completely change someone's outlook from one of despair to one of opportunity. However, This is where reality shows its more nuanced side. Not everyone in your circle is interested in your success. In fact, some people who have been accustomed to your struggle are threatened by your impending ascent, although they have built their identity around feeling superior to your situation or needing you. These people aren't always bad. Their entire perspective on what is possible, what individuals deserve, and how life truly functions is called into question by your metamorphosis. Some of these forces of resistance function from positions of alleged authority in your life. They could be friends who have been used to your difficulties and have given them a sense of purpose, family members who have always presented themselves as your advisors, or organizations that stand to gain financially from concealing some facts. Their established order is in danger due to your evolution, and they will not give up their power easily. This is the point at which the actual strength of your unidentified ally is revealed. Although they have significant financial resources, they have more than that. They have political, social, and legal clout that allows them to precisely silence critics. Those who are against your ascent will find they have miscalculated the forces supporting you when they try to quiet you, defame you, or undermine your development. The support system that is being put in place around you functions with the effectiveness of a well-planned military operation. Every possible threat has been foreseen, every weakness has been guarded, and every attack vector has been resisted. Entire networks of influence have been subtly reorganizing to make room for you to succeed, while you've been concentrating on your inner work and personal recovery. This protection goes beyond just keeping out outside threats. Your benefactor is aware that treating the underlying causes of issues rather than just their symptoms is necessary for genuine empowerment. They are ready to offer tools that help mend generational scars, not just in your family, but also in the areas you will be working in. This is personal assistance masquerading as structural reform. You will be shocked by the enormity of what is about to happen. A slight improvement in your situation, a brief respite from hardship, is not what we are talking about. This is a total reorganization of the life, the kind of change that people work for decades to achieve, condensed into a timescale that goes against the way that change is typically understood. For the first time, your wounded inner child, the part of you that learned to expect disappointment and that evolved complex survival strategies to deal with a world that looked inhospitable to your sensitivity, is going to feel comfortable. The security that surrounds you will be both tangible and intangible, practical and spiritual, allowing you to finally unwind from the years of hypervigilance. Yellow heart if you're moved by divine love. Now is the moment to share it. Click the Super Thanks button on YouTube and contribute $50 or more to help us broadcast God's blessings far and wide. Every act of generosity you make is being watched in heaven and will return to you 100-fold. But remember this important point. What's about to happen isn't intended to make you comfortable or reliant. Your benefactor understands that you are inherently challenged and grow. They're not clearing your way of all impediments. Rather, they're making sure that the challenges you encounter advance your greatest development rather than being a means of limiting you. Your individual therapy sessions will become movements that change policy if your gift is to assist others in ending abusive cycles. You will also have access to financing, platforms, and legal support. You will have access to production resources, distribution networks, and promotional support that is inexplicable if your mission is to create art that awakens consciousness. This is because your unidentified ally knows something that other people don't. Real transformation yields exponential returns on investment. Each individual you assist turns into a catalyst who aids others, starting a chain reaction that ultimately benefits all parties. Your liberation turns into a model for others to follow. Your healing turns into community healing, and your breakthrough turns into a collective breakthrough. Before it dissipates, the opposition will get more intense. Your rise will be seen as a danger to the status quo by those who have profited from your struggle, who have constructed their identity around your limits, and who profit from systems that keep people stuck. They will use strategies aimed at making you doubt your value, your preparedness, and your eligibility for this kind of assistance. The opposition you'll face functions on several levels at once, each of which is increasingly complex. On the surface, you will encounter clear resistance from people whose power rests on your ongoing conflict. These people may try to undermine you in public by disseminating stories that cast doubt on your morality or deservingness. They are aware that their job as the guardians of possibility is in jeopardy due to your transition, and they will not relinquish it amicably. More subtly, you will face resistance from those who say they are on your side, but whose actions constantly impede your advancement, because it gives them a sense of accomplishment or superiority. These people have unwittingly invested in your suffering. They provide advice that keeps you in a rut rather than moving forward, emotional support that strengthens victim consciousness rather than building strength, and assistance that fosters dependency rather than empowerment. However, the most deadly opposition comes from institutions and systems that have made concealing some facts the cornerstone of their entire existence. You will find that their response entails resources and tactics that appear almost supernatural in their coordination and efficacy if your purpose entails exposing abuse, corruption, or deception that implicates powerful institutions. They wield power over media outlets, judicial systems, and social organizations, forging seemingly unbreakable barriers to protect themselves. What they haven't realized, though, is that your unidentified allies have been bracing for just this kind of resistance. Your opponents have planned every move they could make years in advance. Counter-resources already in place have matched or surpassed every resource they might deploy. Alternative narratives have been prepared for instant deployment, and every narrative they could create has been foreseen. This is due to the fact that, although both may have contributed, your benefactor's rise to prominence was not only due to luck or inheritance. They have studied for decades how the highest levels of power function, how information moves through networks of influence, and how perception affects reality in ways that most people are unaware of. They've mastered the very systems that your rivals think they have sole control over. The full might of your ally will be exposed at this exact moment. Although you may anticipate receiving support in the form of gentle help and encouragement, what you'll get is more akin to the defense of a strong parent protecting their child. When necessary, legal teams will appear. Narratives will change in your favor due to social influence. Financial obstacles will vanish as if they never happened. Most startling of all, though, is that you'll find that your benefactor isn't the only one. They belong to a group of people who have been waiting for someone just like you to show up. These souls have incarnated with specialized assignments to support transformation catalysts when they reach critical mass. They are not conscious conspirators gathering in hidden rooms. Every member of this network contributes unique resources and knowledge. One may have the ability to change public opinion overnight through media influence. Someone else may be in charge of educational systems that incorporate your lessons into their curricula. A third may be able to remove regulatory obstacles to your work through their political ties. When combined, they create a support system that is so well coordinated and efficient it nearly looks miraculous. Generational planning is evident in the coordination of this support system. In order to be accessible when transformation catalysts like you reach critical mass, some of these people have been placed in influential positions. They have devoted their lives to acquiring wealth, making contacts, and honing their skills, not for their own benefit, but rather in support of a cause they may not have fully comprehended up until this point. What you're seeing is the initiation of what could be referred to as a consciousness infrastructure, a purposefully built web of assets, connections, and capacities intended to hasten human development by assisting those who represent the transformations mankind must undergo. This is a natural result of evolved souls realizing their duty to use their advantages in the service of communal transformation. It is neither a secret society nor a conspiracy. Confirmation that this network is activating on your behalf will be provided by the synchronicities that start to appear around you. Doors will open at the most inconvenient times. When resources are needed, they will show up. When their contributions are needed, People with precisely the correct connections or experience will join your orbit. These aren't coincidences. Rather, they're the product of meticulous planning by people who know how to manipulate reality on a level that most people can't reach. Dove brothers and sisters, everything done in faith multiplies in God's abundance. Use the Super Thanks feature to donate $100 today and join this sacred mission. When your roots are grounded in Him, your fruit will flourish, and your offering becomes a seed that bears blessed harvests. Perhaps most astonishingly, though, you'll find that some of these supporters have been quietly affecting your life for years. It's possible that opportunities that appeared to come easily were purposefully generated. It is possible that invisible hands silently eliminated obstacles that inexplicably resolved themselves. It's possible that forces you never knew existed led you to people who came into your life at pivotal times and provided just what you needed. At first, this realization may cause you to mistrust free choice and real accomplishment. You can be sure that every decision you've taken, every lesson you've learned, and every change you've experienced has been wholly your own. Instead of directly influencing your development, the support has been environmental, fostering circumstances that allow for your genuine growth to thrive. You play an active part in this cosmic arrangement. You're being prepared for a task that calls for unheard-of levels of protection and resources, not rescued or saved. The cosmos wouldn't put this much money into one person without anticipating enormous returns in the form of an improvement in the state of the universe as a whole. The dreams you gave up as a child because they didn't seem realistic weren't fantasies. They were forebodings. You weren't projecting your ego when you had sights during meditation that appeared too big to discuss. They were your real future downloaded. It wasn't an illusion. It was the knowledge that your life was designed for something important. Truth was attempting to get you ready for this. The previous paradigm that your emergence is meant to collapse was unwittingly supported by everyone who advised you to be realistic, to have lower aspirations, and to accept restriction as wisdom. Understand that from an abundant perspective, supported by strategic resources, what seems impossible from a scarcity mindset becomes inevitable. The changes that are happening all around you will be visible to the public. This is not a personal triumph to be celebrated alone. This is an example of what can happen when a person doesn't allow their circumstances to determine their fate. In addition to drawing attention to the systems that benefit from keeping individuals tiny, your success will be sufficiently evident to motivate those who are still caught in the cycles you have broken. The thing that will really surprise you, though, is that your benefactor only asks that you become who you are. No hidden intentions, no obligations, and no debt to pay back. They are aware that genuine change cannot be forced or coerced. Rather, it must be allowed to develop naturally in accordance with its own wisdom. Your character's ability to discern energy signatures at depths that most people can't access is what gives them this amount of trust. They have seen how you handle resources when you have them and when you don't, how you treat those who can assist you versus those who can't, and how you react to both power and helplessness. They are persuaded that increasing your influence will be in your best interests by your consistency across these factors. The advanced intelligence network that has been recording your decisions for longer than you may think is something you are still unaware of. Those whose responsibility it is to find people deserving of extraordinary investment have seen and documented every instance in which you chose integrity over advantage, lifted someone up when you were struggling, or showed kindness when no one else was around. This isn't monitoring in the most intrusive sense. Rather, it's the inevitable result of being true to oneself in a society where real character is becoming more and more scarce. The energetic signatures you produce register on equipment that most people are unaware exist. A person becomes visible to networks that specialize in amplifying such frequencies when they continuously choose service over self-interest, truth over comfort, and love over fear. The benefactor who is trying to enter your life is not acting out of sentimental drive or a whim. They stand for something much more organized and deliberate. a deliberate attempt by evolved souls to quickly alter human awareness by assisting those who have previously demonstrated that they are more concerned with growth than comfort. You've passed exams that you were unaware you were taking, shown traits under duress that are merely theoretically desired by most people. This is where things get even more interesting, though. Your benefactor has been putting off getting in touch with you until you've reached a particular stage of personal growth. They are aware that early intervention, even with the best of intentions, might impede the process of natural evolution that produces true strength. Their appearance in your life isn't random. Rather, it's time to perfectly match your ability to accept help without becoming reliant on it. The support that surrounds you generates what mystics refer to as a field of grace, a place where chances present themselves at the ideal moment, where synchronicities abound, and where impediments melt more readily. This isn't passive magic, though. It's the outcome of strong people deliberately removing obstacles, paving the road, and fostering an environment that allows your innate genius to flourish unhindered. It was never intended for you to travel this route by yourself. Your nervous system is about to undergo a recalibration that will shock you with its intensity because it has been in survival mode for so long that stress feels normal. Your body will require time to acclimate to the new reality when true safety takes the place of hypervigilance, abundance takes the place of scarcity, and support takes the place of isolation. As decades of tension finally come to an end, expect floods of emotion. The external changes in your situation are mirrored in this physical metamorphosis. Your identity must grow to encompass options that were previously unthinkable, just as your body must adjust to safety following extended stress. Your former self won't vanish. Instead, it will fuse with parts of you that have been awaiting the correct circumstances. The inner child who learned to shrink in order to prevent more suffering will find that they are free to take up space. The part of you that evolved complex ways to gain acceptance and affection will experience what it's like to be supported without conditions. The part of you that got too cautious due to the untrustworthy grown-ups in your life will learn what it's like to have genuinely trustworthy allies. Glowing star yearning to witness God's miracles firsthand? Plant your spiritual seed now by contributing $100 or more through the YouTube Super Thanks button. Your offering lights the path for others and echoes through His divine plan, bringing His light into every step you take. Most importantly, though, the wounded wisdom keeper who learned to mistrust your insights, question your value, and belittle your gifts will suddenly realize they were correct all along. The instinct you were taught to repress was right. In reality, the dreams you were instructed to give up were a source of wisdom. Your greatest strength was the sensitivity you were urged to harden. Your material ascension will be accompanied by a significant and noticeable energetic alteration, sometimes in an uncomfortable way. Your presence will start to convey vibrations that awaken dormant potentials in others. Those who have become accustomed to limitations will be faced with options they have long shunned. People who have made struggle their identity will come across someone who has overcome struggle without losing empathy for those who are still caught in it. Beyond empowering you personally, this energetic upgrade gets you ready for the responsibility that comes with your elevated situation. You must act with a degree of consciousness that can appropriately handle such power when you have the ability to change lives, when your words have the capacity to influence decisions that impact thousands of people, and when your decisions have an impact on entire communities and generations. Those who are seeing your trip learn from the transformation process itself. Every obstacle you overcome gracefully, every temptation you withstand, and every decision you make based on integrity rather than advantage shows what is possible when someone gives their all to their own development. Your life turns into a live course on service-oriented achievement, genuine power, and conscious leadership. The most significant change, however, will occur internally. The breakdown of defenses that have kept you safe during times of danger and shortage, but now restrict your ability to accept and distribute plenty. As real security takes the place of survival mode, you will gradually relax the hypervigilance that kept you safe during vulnerable moments. The self-reliance that enabled you to endure desertion will transform into interdependence that acknowledges the value of reciprocal assistance. As trauma-carved neural pathways progressively reconfigure themselves around safety and abundance, you must be patient with yourself during this internal recalibration. It will take some time for your nervous system, which is used to stress hormones and survival reactions, to get used to long-term calm and security. As decades of pent-up tension suddenly find a safe outlet, expect emotional waves. The resistance that arises as your influence increases will actually help you achieve your goal as aspects of yourself that were hidden during challenging times gradually come to the fore in your new reality. Every effort to lessen your influence will be met with such prompt and forceful defense that onlookers will realize they are seeing forces that are beyond the realm of common understanding. Those who have been waiting for proof that such protection exists will be inspired by this display of strength supporting your cause and deter future difficulties. Your narrative is turning into a real-life example of what can happen when someone puts their all into their own development, no matter the cost. You now have the responsibility of setting an example for people who are observing to determine whether transformation is worthwhile. This includes every discussion you have, every choice you make, and every boundary you uphold. Your life is turning into evidence that the cosmos provides resources beyond our wildest dreams in order to reward genuine growth. Not only were the generational patterns you've been disrupting family karma, but your individual efforts were also clearing collective shadows. You've been helping humanity evolve through your therapy, and now you're getting paid for the service you've already rendered. This is an extension of your ability to serve on an even larger scale, not remuneration. All of the things that hurt you were also getting you ready for this growth. You learned to spot true loyalty from every betrayal. You learned what really counts from every setback. You learned to find hope in the most hopeless situations from every moment of sadness. These hardships weren't arbitrary. Rather, they were part of a curriculum meant to get you ready for roles that call for great fortitude. The protection that surrounds you goes beyond what most people think about. Higher facets of your being are being protected from psychic interference, energetic manipulation, and spiritual attack, while your conscious mind concentrates on pragmatic issues like finances and logistics. Your unidentified pals are aware that transformation catalysts require protection that functions on several levels at once. What is ahead will surpass all of your fantasies about your potential, including the visions you've hardly dared to acknowledge, the dreams you've cultivated in private, and the possibilities you've glimpsed during times of enlarged consciousness. All of this served as a prelude to realizing the scope of what is currently emerging. Instead of generating irrational expectations, your imagination was downloading blueprints for your true fate. Beyond the material resources and protective influence, beyond the network of powerful allies and the dissolution of limiting circumstances, exists something even more significant: the realization of your true nature and the full activation of capacities that have lain dormant throughout your human experience. The extent of the transformation that awaits you includes dimensions you haven't yet thought about. You are more than just someone who has persevered and triumphed. Although you have done both admirably, you are more than just a survivor who has discovered how to flourish, even if your fortitude has been remarkable. You are a consciousness that made the conscious decision to take on this unique human incarnation in order to contribute to the progress of the species toward greater knowledge, compassion, and awareness. The difficulties you encountered were not arbitrary obstacles imposed by an uncaring cosmos. Rather, they were purposefully created experiences meant to cultivate the traits required for the task you are about to undertake. You learned to spot true loyalty from every betrayal. Every setback made clear what really counts. Each depressing experience bolstered your ability to provide hope to those facing comparable challenges. Your ability to establish safety for individuals who have never suffered abuse or neglect has grown with each case. Not only did the voyage bring you to this point, but it also prepared you to contribute to the awakening of humanity. Your achievement provides proof that change is achievable even from the most difficult beginnings. Your personal breakthrough becomes a model for others to follow, and your individual healing becomes a collective healing. In the end, you'll realize that everything that seemed to be working against you was actually working for this moment as you stand in the fullness of who you've become, surrounded by the support you never thought imaginable and shielded by forces you never knew existed. Your journey is now illuminated by a brightness that was prepared for by every dark night of your soul. When you realize that you've been seen, appreciated, and backed by forces greater than yourself, all of your doubts about whether you were enough, if you mattered, and whether anybody would ever really see you vanish. Personal salvation is not the end of the chosen one's journey. Rather, it is the beginning. The actual task, for which all of your preparation was planned, is what lies ahead of you.